Hello and welcome to episode 119 of Beyond the Brick. I'm Joshua Hanlon.
And I'm Matthew Kay.
And this episode of Beyond the Brick is brought to you by BrickFest Live. BrickFest Live will be held at the Meadowlands Expo Center in New Jersey, July 11th through 13th. And it is a public event with a focus on hands-on attractions such as the racetrack where you can build and race your custom-built Lego Derby car down one of the 35-foot-long tracks. So more info can be found at brickfestlive.com. And I'll make sure to include a link to their website in the description of this video. And a quick reminder about our Kickstarter project. You can get yourself a Brickworld Chicago DVD with all of our Brickworld content. I'll make sure to put a link to that in the description below, but this is a great chance to get your DVD that way. And we have a really great episode for you today. We have Guy Himber joining us on the show. And obviously, you might know Guy Himber as V&A Steamworks on Flickr. He's done a lot of Kickstarter projects himself. He has one going right now that we'll be talking about. He's also the founder of Crazy Bricks at crazybricks.com. He is a toy and special effects designer, and he's contributed to Brick Journal. He helps run the Iron Builder contests, and he's also a member of the Lego Users Group of Los Angeles. So it's really awesome to have you on the show, Guy.
Hi, guys. Good to be back.
Yes, and we actually had, for really long-time listeners of the show, we had him on, I think it might be close to 2 years ago now, one of our first guests actually on our audio-only podcast. So you might have heard that if you've been listening for a while. But we got a lot of cool stuff to talk about today. First off, you want to tell us a little bit about the LUG you're part of, and do they do any shows throughout the year?
Yeah, LUGOLA, which is the Los Angeles Users Group of Los Angeles, is a pretty active group. Yeah, we have a lot of builders that you probably know of, like Andrew Lee, who's, I think it's Ono Sendai 2600, who's currently competing in Iron Builder. Bruce Lowell, who's been an Iron Builder for a long time. Paul Lee, who's amazing illustrator. Brandon Griffith. There's so many cool guys in the LUG, and it's a fun LUG to be in. It's just a really nice group of folks, and they're pretty active. I wish I was more active in it. But they're always doing displays. They do stuff here in Pasadena. Right now there's a big display. I think it's called the Seastrom Center. That's all based around show tunes and things. It's a busy, fun group. Yeah, and sometimes we hijack guys from the Sand Lug, kind of come up and visit us. So it's a good bunch of guys. Yeah, we like it.
Okay. It's always great to hear about new active lugs like that. So we have had many of those guys you mentioned on the show. So yeah, a lot of really awesome builders out there.
Probably the Troublemaker episode. I'm sure a lot of them were.
Yeah, somewhat, with a few of them, but that's okay. But you want to start off then by telling us a little bit about, I mentioned you have a Kickstarter project going right now. You've got some really cool stuff you're working on over there. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the name of the project is MUNCHKIN Bricks, and if you're familiar with the card game called Munchkin by Steve Jackson Games, that's all the pieces in the Kickstarter are all based on that. So there's a bunch of iconic cards and items within the game, and if you've played the game, you'll be very familiar with all the pieces. But what's even better is the pieces are so just things that no one has done before. They're just great pieces, just even for non-Munchkin players too. Yeah, there's some amazing pieces in it. I'm happy to show you guys a few if you'd like to see.
Oh, definitely. That'd be awesome.
Great.
Won't miss a chance to see some of these.
Fantastic. All right, the first one I'm going to show you, within the game there's a very special book, and I'm going to try to pronounce it wrong. It's called the Munch Key Nomicon. I always get it wrong. And it's obviously based on the Necronomicon, which is the famous, arcane book. But everything in the Munchkin universe has like a Munchkin twist to it. There's usually something witty or ironic or punish about it. So if you look close, let's see. There's the Munchkinomicon. Can you guys see it okay?
Yeah.
Sometimes if I shake it, it helps. Hang on. There, can you see it better now?
Oh,
yeah.
There you go. Okay, I think you just needed to shake
better.
it. That worked well.
Yeah. Okay. No, actually, this is the one that's minifigure scale, and it's actually a working hinged book. So it opens up. It has this one has like interior details on it.
Okay. Yeah.
And a minifigure can grab it from the back, all around the sides. So this one obviously hard to show here, but I can show you the oversized one. Because these are all digital sculptures, I can grow them at different sizes. So this one's one of my display ones, but you can kind of see how the whole hinge system works, and imagine a minifigure hand grabbing it from all sides. And it's just, that's like the most awesome thing you've ever seen in your life. Just it's basically the evil book, but kind of a fun version of it. And then another one I can show you is the, if you're fans of H.P. Lovecraft and Cthulhu, they have a expansion to the game that's like the Cthulhu version of Munchkin, and they have. You guys know what a chibi is? Chibi?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of a Japanese sensibility where you overly cutify things to like just cuddly degrees. So this is the Cthulhu, but it's the chibi.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cute one. So this is again the big display model. The little chibi is probably about the size of like a Lego minifigure teddy bear, and he has a stud connection in the bottom, and then the final one will have little ridges here, so a minifigure can grab him and hold him, kind of like a little friendly little pet kind of guy. So this one, I mean, if the whole thing was just to make this guy alone, I would be done. That's
it's worth it right there.
Totally right there. Then this one's a special one. This one is called the Unnatural Acts. And again, that whole kind of punny sort of thing. And this one's really special too because my buddy Will Chapman at Brick Arms was the digital sculptor on this one. So he's kind of a guest sculptor, and he interpreted the card just perfectly. I'll show you the large version too. But again, I mean, even if this was the only thing that we did on it, I would be happy. If the whole thing was just so I could get this one piece in my hand, I would be done. Yeah, this is like one of my favorite pieces too. And it's just a little oversized and kooky. And again, this is very much that Munchkin kind of thing. And then, of course, you got to have other important ones like Rat on a Stick. Mm-hmm. This is very important to have.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's also a piece called the Duck of Doom. So he's like this very fun, cool duck. And again, all this will be scaled down minifigure size. So just to give you a sense of proportion again, like there's the actual minifigure scale guy, and there's like the big one is
okay.
And there's about, I think at this point we're 10 or 11 pieces in a set, and we just unlocked a hat called the Meter, or a miter hat sometimes it's called, which is kind of like a Pope hat for lack of a better thinking. Yeah, which is a great piece. And then we're just about to hit our next stretch goal, which will unlock what's called Spike's helmet. And Spike is like the iconic Munchkin character. And there's all kinds of, neat stretch goals and all that kind of stuff. But basically, please come on over, take a look at the project. I'm crazy excited about it. And all the guys at Steve Jackson's game have just been amazing and wonderful. Yeah, it's something I'll be showing off at Brick World. So certainly come pay me a visit, and I'll show you all the stuff live. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's really awesome. I appreciate you showing us all that stuff. There's some incredible stuff you're making over there. Like you said, even if the project was just for one of those, stuff is so cool it'd be worth it. But luckily it's for all of that cool stuff, so definitely encourage you to check that out. I'll make sure to have a link to the project in the description so people can see that. Now, I noticed there were other colors over there. How can people get those, like glow in the dark and stuff like that?
Yeah, there's right now there's 4 different colors, and let's see if I can remember it right. It's glow in the dark, gunmetal gray, which is kind of like a pearlescent metal color, brown, and green. So when someone orders a set, they can choose it to be any one of those 4 colors. Like every item in the set will be that color. And then we unlock the add-ons so people can get. I didn't show you the other one. This is like another favorite. I mean, as much as I love one, I always love the next one better. This one is probably another one of my. All right, I love them all. There's a card in the game called Cute Shoulder Dragon, and initially I wanted to do literally that, like a dragon up on someone's shoulder, but it just didn't really leave a lot of room to do stuff. So although he's called Cute Shoulder Dragon, he's really a cute four-armed dragon, to be fair. And what'll be neat about this guy is, all right, now we'll go to the little one, is you'll pop off a minifigure's hand. he then attaches on the front of the arm, and then the minifigure hand clicks back in. So when he's on the minifigure's forearm, he can actually still grab things, or when someone has like a hawk on their arm, they're not holding the hawk; it rests there. So no one's really done that before, and this is a whole little neat bit of engineering that, again, I'm just excited about. The neat thing about the guys at Steve Jackson's is they sort of gave me carte blanche. They said, "Here's what would we need to do with our stuff?" And I've been through all the cards, and that dragon just jumped out at me. That was a fantastic one. I'm sorry, I get distracted. What were you saying?
No, that's fine. It's neat to see all the really cool stuff you've got there. Now, on some of these minifigs there, you had your skulls. I believe, was that your last Kickstarter project, was to do those?
Yeah, that was the last one. Let's see, where's one here? Yeah, the skulls. This is kind of really getting into the aesthetics that I like, and the thing that's here's the bigger one. The thing that I kind of like, and I noticed that like Lego's kind of going more in that direction, is the idea that it's okay to do non-traditional minifigure heads. Like if you look at the Simpsons, they've captured that sort of more dimensional stuff, and I think everyone come to accept that in their minifigures. So I've always liked that. I mean, I love minifigure heads and I love printed ones, but it's just nice to kind of expand beyond that too. So Skulls.
It's interesting that the Simpsons, the episode that they did in Lego, used the heads with the printed faces, and then we get the set and we get the collectible figs, and suddenly they're sculpted heads. I don't know. It is kind of like a debate, or it's a kind of a question of preference. But I think sculpted, there's something to be said for it.
Yeah, it's hard. I don't think minifigure style translates to everything, and because the dimensional aspect of the Simpsons heads are so iconic.
Yeah.
It's really hard to translate that into something flat.
They're so eccentric, too. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I agree.
So, yeah, I think there's definitely, like Matthew was saying, definitely something to be said for those types of heads. But another cool project that you're working on, along with your cool Kickstarter projects, is you have some special studs cards that you'll be handing out at some conventions later this year. Is that right?
That is correct. Yeah. For this year, I'm going to be visiting and doing some vending at 4 conventions this year. So the first one is Brick World, where obviously we'll be hanging out. Then after that, I'm going to Brick Fair in Virginia. Then Bricks by the Bay here in San Jose, and then kind of my home convention, the one that got me started way back when, BrickCon, will do toward the end of the year. So for each convention, there's going to be a special studs card. And Studs Card was a Kickstarter that Brandon Griffin did, I think it was year before last, which is a fantastic concept. I know he's been kind of refining his production on it because I think he delivered a little later than he had hoped. But as a thing for fans in the community, it's fantastic. Yeah, I'm a big supporter of it. So the card that'll go for Brick, this was like one of my, so everyone that's an attendee will have a coupon in their bag, and it'll let them get the Beholder Studs card, and we'll also get them a limited color anonymous mask. So this was kind of an offshoot of the Skulls project. Hang on, let me shake this one. There we go.
Oh,
yeah,
that works so well.
Huh. Oh.
Yeah, so that anonymous mask. So everyone that goes there, I have a couple runs of non-white color ones, like some silver ones and red ones, and anyone with the coupon, besides getting the Studs card, will also be able to get one of those masks. So it's good for me. It encourages people to come to the booth, and I get to meet them all, which is all part of the fun. Yeah.
That's a better idea than just kind of throwing stuff in goodie bags. Come to me.
It's kind of like that, yeah, because otherwise you don't get to meet them. They're just like, hey, I got a thing, and they throw it in the bag with everything else.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. So that's some cool stuff you can get if you're going to Brick World there. What kind of stuff will you be selling as a vendor?
Well, Munchkin Bricks won't be out yet, but we will be. I'll have all the prototypes there and things for people to see, so they can kind of get a better sense of what they are. And I think I'll have a little QR poster there, so if people are interested, they can just scan it, and it'll take them right to the Kickstarter. Because Kickstarter will be about halfway through, I think, by the time we get to Brick World. And then I'll have all the Skull stuff there. I have Pigs vs. Cows. I'll have a limited number of the Crazy books there, just from my proto mold. And again, it's really, vending is a little new to me, so it's just a chance to kind of get into it and meet everybody and you know, enjoy everyone's company and have them come pay me a visit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So now, for people who might not be real familiar with your work, how did you first get into making these pieces, these custom pieces and stuff? Is this something you've done for a few years now?
I was actually taking a shower at Will Chapman's house. That sounds weird, but we had just I just wrapped up BrickCon, I guess 2 years ago, and they had announced that the theme was pigs versus cows. And we were just talking about various things, and I was like, you know, someone needs to make like some real, you know, like biped pig versus cows. And the closest thing there were like the old Fabuland heads, which are really cool, but they're sort of out of scale to a minifigure. And you know, from my movie effects background, I have a lot of access to a lot of neat processes and artists and stuff. And I said, yeah, how hard could it be? I said, you know what, I think I'm going to try a Kickstarter for that. And it's kind of what we did. Everyone promoted it. I worked out a thing with BrickCon, and that was the first real Kickstarter I did that went all the way through. So it started from there, and I realized, hey, I kind of like doing this. So that led to Skulls, now to MUNCHKIN Bricks, and then after MUNCHKIN Bricks, it's going to be either Crazy Arms or the Crazy Books will be the next one. Yeah, I love Kickstarter. It's cool. Very
it's
neat.
interesting that you continue to fund all of your projects through Kickstarter. You haven't thought about seeking out like alternative funding methods, or just kind of doing it? Well, what makes Kickstarter so attractive to you, I guess?
I think the beauty of Kickstarter is it's a real measure of what is going to be popular and marketable. Like, we might all say, oh, everyone needs zombie chicken. I love zombie chickens. So you would go and invest with the fairly substantial money to do injection molds, and you know, it's many, many thousands of dollars, and then you go out there in the world and say, zombie chickens for sale, and you know, after the three of us...
We don't want that, yeah.
Yeah, three of us buy them and no one else buys them, so it was kind of a bad idea. So I think that's what's great about Kickstarter is it really takes your idea and puts it out to a reality test as far as how marketable it is. And,
yeah, if you don't engage your audience enough, then yeah, you don't get the money at all. So it's a make or break it kind of thing.
Yeah, it's truth at its harshest. Yeah.
Definitely.
Because you see a lot of projects that just don't go anywhere, and I'm sure for the person that set them up, they thought it was the greatest thing ever. But you know, once they got past their mom and their next door neighbor, they agreed with them. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially for something like you're doing and what we're doing, something so niche-y with such a relatively small audience to engage. I mean, there's really like no clearance rack we can put the stuff on if we do it and don't have a way to sell it. So Kickstarter, pre-selling, all that kind of stuff, very, very good.
Yeah, and it's the same idea. You know, you're basically creating your own brand, your own store online, and that's kind of that audience that you're going towards.
Totally.
I tend to do more like, you know, specialized, more invested things. I mean, the guys that I think consistently do great would be, as we mentioned, like Will Chapman. I mean, he's doing stuff, I think, that is really broad appeal.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be
any boy ever, or not any boy for that matter, anybody ever, right? Yeah. Guns.
And Will's stuff is like bulletproof. You know, the quality level, he's just mastered the design of everything. So he's kind of chasing a different world than I am. I'm kind of going for the little more specialized, kooky world. Although Skulls is a little more general. Yeah. But Will's the master. When we became friends way back when, I was just always really happy to know him. He and I think very much alike, and we both kind of get a buzz off the same things. You know, we like to make stuff.
Totally.
So he's been an awesome friend to have.
Oh yeah, those BrickArms products are really great, and I immediately recognized the axe piece you had. I thought it looked like a BrickArms product when you held that up. I definitely had that BrickArms look to it.
Oh.
There's the big orange one.
The orange one.
And another project that you've been working on, you got so much cool stuff here that you're working on, is a Steampunk Lego book. Now you're known somewhat as a steampunk builder. We'll actually be talking about one of your big steampunk builds here in a little bit. But how did the Steampunk Lego book come about?
I mean, I've always enjoyed books. I like the process. I've done little books on my own and stuff. And the guys at No Starch Press had approached me, and I really like their stuff. They do a lot of specialized books, and I think they're probably one of the greater supporters of the AFOL community. I mean, they've done, was it Beautiful Lego? It was just an amazing book. I mean, they're not afraid to go in there and go into these very specialized little topics. And yeah, kind of known as one of the steampunk Lego guys, I was approached with it, and I guess I was a little hesitant at first, but I really liked the idea that we would have a Lego steampunk book. So I said, okay, let's do it. And I've been really fortunate. They have fantastic people on the staff there that have been extremely supportive and helpful. And I'm not a publisher. I'm not a book person. That's not what I do for a living. So that's what they do, and they really are fantastic at it. I mean, if you go to their, I guess, No Starch or whatever the website is, I don't have it handy. There's just so many amazing Lego-themed books they've done. There's all the Cynthia Rothrock books. There's these Technic books.
They even go all like way back, way when the Lego Builders Guide or the unofficial Lego Builders, like published. I think the first print was like 1990 something, early 2000s.
Well, I think original background is like computer and computer language books. So yeah, those early books kind of felt like that. They were more like technical manuals. And as they've progressed along, they're just these beautiful, luscious books full of pictures. So it's been great for me, and I've learned a lot too. And they're just have been infinitely patient and understanding and helpful to make it happen. So I'm excited to get it out there, and we're just finalizing the book cover, and it looks awesome. Yeah, I guess again, basically the idea of the book is there's a knighted gentleman who's actually in the picture. It's my grandfather who plays that particular character. God bless his soul. The idea is he's gone out into the late 1800s Victorian Empire at the behest of the Queen, and he's collecting all of the steampunk information and things out there and gathering them all together in this book to present the Queen. So one chapter might be trains, one chapter might be monowheels, another chapter might be space things, and it's kind of set up almost like a bit of a scrapbook of sorts. It's just pictures he's collected and put in, and notes about the builders and little backstories about all of them, and it's just a way to sort of present all these great mocks that everyone has built in sort of a cohesive way. So it's exciting. It's definitely a lot of work to do a book, but again, I can't give enough kudos to the guys at No Starch. They've been really fantastic with me.
Totally. I think it's great that No Starch, it's like they're getting non-book people to write really good books, That needs to be done more often in more areas, I think it's a good combination.
Yeah, it's fun, and I think that the current schedule, somewhere toward the end of the year or so for release, I haven't been good at keeping track of all that stuff. But the nice part is, I think they don't release stuff until they feel it's ready and it's done, which is kind of the right way to do it.
Totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they don't rush you just to get it out there to people, so that's good. And another, like I mentioned earlier, we've been talking about the steampunk here. You are known for your steampunk builds. One build that you have that's really impressive that I wanted to talk about was your HMS Crazy Bricks, and this is a ship that you built that, as far as Lego ships go, is one of the best I've seen. Really incredible build here. So, what was some of the thought process going into this?
Yeah, it's excuse me. It's been hard for me to photograph, and it's at the picture in there. It's still a bit work in progress, but it's massive. It's the masts on that are actual like Duplo pirate ship masts, and I don't know if you've seen one, but they're about 1 inch in diameter, and they're huge. I mean, this thing is giant, and I think the only place it's probably going to get displayed this year is probably at Bricks by the Bay, because I can put it in my car and get it up there. Yeah, I don't think it would survive.
It's not doing any suitcases? No, none of that?
I don't think it would survive. Yeah, and plus most of my suitcases for where I'm traveling this year will probably be full of Crazy Brick stuff.
Yeah.
But Bricks by the Bay, I think I'll get it up there, and it's a slight chance it might make it to BrickCon, depending if I can borrow some space if someone's driving up there end of the year. But what it'll have on it is it's just going to be covered in Crazy Bricks skulls too. It's just going to be detailed out. But if you look at the picture close, I think there's 35 cannons out the side, and the cannon doors actually open up, and the cannons slide out and slide back in.
Wow.
Yeah, it's again, the picture just doesn't. It's hard to capture the scale of how bloody huge this thing is. It's giant. It's huge. Huge.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'm sure in person it's even much more impressive, but some really cool stuff on there. Now, do you have some brick arms pieces on the top deck there?
Yeah, my initial inspiration to build it was one of the Brick Arms contests. I usually, Badger's a good friend of mine, and whenever they post contests, I usually think, I'm never going to have time to do that. But it always seems like, well, maybe I'll try doing one. And it kind of got a little out of hand. Yeah, this one a little bigger and crazier than I had intended. But I'm certainly a huge fan of all the stuff they do at Brick Arms. You know, my favorite. I remember the first time I met Will, he let me have a special color run of one of their early Gatling guns, like kind of a big multi-barreled, like a Gatling gun, and I treasured that thing. It was kind of a hand cast part. It was brassy and a little rusty looking, and I probably used it in like 5 or 6 different mocks. And then since then, he's even made it better than that. So that deck is just covered in those Gatling guns, and there's a bunch of other Brick Arms pieces in there. And I think the crew, I sort of alluded a bit toward Lord of the Rings dwarfs, too. Yeah.
Okay. So what has, kind of over the years, what has driven you to the steampunk genre? Is that kind of, when you first started Lego building, was that what you were building in, or why do you keep coming back to that?
I just think it offers the most opportunities creatively. I mean, I've certainly built other things and other themes, but steampunk just is always appealing to me. Something about that period in history and just the famous people that came out of that time and all the things that were going on. And to me, it's one of the more creative, open-ended themes to build in. Yeah, and you can kind of make anything steampunk too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like a steampunk beyond the brick sign there behind you. That would be nice.
That would be. We
Get on it, Josh.
Love to see that if someone would like to make that. Yes, we could definitely. That would be very cool. We should
just make it brown and say, "Oh, it's steampunk now." I mean, we want really a thought process. Stick a few gears on there or something.
Yeah, that's true. I guess to make it simple steampunk, that's all you need. But that would be cool. And let's see, so that's some of your steampunk stuff there. Now, something I mentioned at the beginning of the show is that you have helped run Iron Builder. I believe you were one of the the guys that founded Iron Builder, right?
Actually, Nanan Z on Flickr, he was really we'll call him the founder of Iron Builder.
Okay.
And when it had gone on for a few rounds, and I was asked to participate by Tyler, Legoholic, and I just had a blast participating in it, and I actually won my first round of Iron Builder and became an Iron Builder. And at that time, it was a somewhat private competition on just the Builders Lounge group when they used to go off on a bulletin board service. But it was kind of hard because I think we wanted to share it with everybody, but since it was all sort of privately under an umbrella, people would just see the mocks individually posted, and it was kind of a thing that was growing bigger than that. So I just over time kind of got more involved in it and developed the Iron Builder poster, which you see with every round, and then made some suggestions to Nanan, and we just ended up I got so involved, we ended up sort of doing it together, and it sort of evolved into this mad, crazy, beyond our imagination contest. I mean, the stuff people are building now is so far beyond how it started, and the expectations that people have now are superhuman. It's crazy what people build for Iron Builder.
Do you think it's going to continue to go at the rate it's going, or do you think it's going to implode on itself? Where it's like an artistic revolt, and it's like suddenly everybody says Iron Builder, we can't do that anymore. Do you think what direction is it headed in?
I mean, obviously it's limited by the fact that it just takes place over the course of a month. Everyone has regular lives outside of the contest, so that's like an inherent limit to the contest. It's really going to be as much as you can generate in that.
24 hours in a day, that kind of, yeah.
Well, some people, you know, I won't say I haven't gotten calls from people's wives and stuff and asked me to stop doing that once. But I think that the purity of the contest, the beauty of it is it's not really for anything other than bragging rights and a chance to show off your skills. You know.
Totally.
And well, also the loser has to build the winner a trophy. So that's really all you're ultimately competing for. I mean, the title only means as much as people are willing to give it. But it's really just a chance. I mean, when I was competing, I loved it. I had a fantastic time. I competed against other builders I really admire. I mean, on my second round, I competed against Lino, who's a good friend of mine and a bloody amazing builder, and I beat him by the skin of my teeth. But just the tension of every day and building on it, it hurts. It's just every day all you're thinking about this goofy part you're working with. And then I got fortunate. I beat Lino, and then my second round that I competed at was against Rod Gillies, who's Too Much Caffeine on Flickr, who's another friend of mine. He lives in Scotland, and I thought I beat him. I so thought I beat him. In my mind I was like, he's good, but I'm better. I got him. This is mine. And I lost that one. And although I was kind of disappointed, I got to admit, too, I was a little relieved, too. There's a lot of stress with that competition. You're just like, oh, my God, what's he going to post, and what am I going to post against him? And I think that's what really drives it. It appeals to everyone because of the adrenaline factor. You can't really hide because you're in public. I mean, everything you post, everybody sees. So, when you're building at home, like, Josh, when you build your Steampunk Beyond the Brick,
yeah.
If it's not really going right, or you want to take an extra month, no one cares. But Iron Builder, I mean, the world is your judge.
You got to produce.
You're hot. Yeah.
Hot off the press.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then right now we started a super team challenge, and Steph and Sean Mayo are the top contenders on that, and we've thrown brutal competition against them. The brothers Falworth was last time, and that was all featured in an issue of Brick Journal. Tyler, Legoholic, and his sister Little Holic competed against them on the last one, and the Mayos just won. I think that was a split decision, I want to say. But they're hard to compete against. Those guys are amazing. They are just, I mean, you've met them. They're just phenomenal, focused, creative, amazing builders, and I think that's the whole point of the contest, is to let us enjoy seeing how these guys build. So, I think as long as people will tolerate it and they're crazy enough to participate, it'll continue on. Yeah.
And I think that's a good point you raise. It is like it's self-governing. It's only as important or as special as people make it to be. So.
Yeah, all Nan and I do is just try to find people to compete and send them the parts and sort of regulate it online. But that's kind of it. It's really a very public contest. I don't feel like it belongs to me or Nan, and it sort of belongs to the AFOLs pretty much. We just kind of help orchestrate it.
Totally. That's awesome.
And the team challenges are really cool. I think it just, with two builders on each team, it just steps up the skill level and the impressiveness of the builds, and it just makes it even cooler to follow over the month of the competition. And one thing I was going to ask you about, I think I noticed in the last couple you had the Mixels from Lego. That was kind of a sponsored Lego thing. How did that all work for you?
We were approached by Kevin Hinkle. I'm sure you guys had him on the cast, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Kevin's fantastic. He's one of those guys that understands AFOLs, and they have these Mixel sets, but I think for us adults, we don't necessarily get it. There's this whole mythos to it and a cartoon and stuff, and I think they wanted to find venues to sort of spread the word and help them to appeal to other people. And I love the Mixel sets. They're so full of great parts. So they said, hey, we'd like to sponsor a round of Iron Builder, and I said, hey, why don't you sponsor 2 or 3? So they sent a bunch of Mixel sets for us to look at, and out of those, we picked elements that are common to the Mixel sets or specialized to them. And then the beauty is it also afforded us a chance to send the builders the entire sets. So like on the last round, gosh, I don't remember the character's name, but it was a yellow one, and there was a particular part in there, this little 1x2 slope, and we were able to send 10 full sets to all the competitors to build from. This last round, or the round that's going on right now, it's actually, there's a little ball and socket.
The Mixel, the joint, right? The new... Yeah.
And the beauty of that is, I think everyone just thinks of it as that. It's like, all right, it's a ball, it's a socket, I'm going to use it for things. And that's why I thought it would be a perfect part. It's a kind of part where people kind of only think of it in one dimension and one use, but in the hands of Iron Builder contestants, it's going to go crazy. People, they're going to find uses for it that we haven't thought of yet.
Perception stops being reality.
Exactly, perception. And I have to admit, when the guys who competed opened it, that's Jimmy, who's in France, 6QB6, I think is his Flickr name, and then Andrew, who's Ono Sendai, they were not pleased. When they saw their part, what are we going to do with this? Because, again, they're thinking, you know, you pop it in the thing and you make a thing move. What are we supposed to do with this? They weren't too happy. But I'm glad that after they looked at it for a while, and again, that spirit of competition got into them, man, they have already built some impressive stuff. They are, I don't know if you followed that part of the contest yet, but some amazing stuff they're building with those and just using them in ways that no one's really thought of before. And that's ultimately, I think, the goal of Iron Builder is to take a part that everyone sort of said, it does this, and push people to use it beyond its perceived sort of limits.
And I think that one of the best, like as far as choosing parts goes, like choosing parts with limited connection points, because that makes it really, really interesting. You know, when something can only mount like with one axle joint, or
sometimes that's the way. I mean, we've done contests where I thought it was the best part ever because it's a part that I would like using, and the Iron Builders really didn't do great with it. And then we've done parts where they're just like fairly pedestrian, boring parts. And they've built amazing things with them. So I don't really know if there is a bad part. I think in the hands of good skilled builders, any part has potential to be pretty tremendous.
I think that's definitely true. Now, you mentioned your crazy books and your crazy arms. Is there any other projects you have planned for the future? Any other big builds or anything like that coming up that you are thinking about right now?
That's kind of it right now. I mean, I'm kind of focusing on the stuff I'm doing for Crazy Bricks, and yeah, I haven't been building a lot personal lately. I've just had some stuff going on a personal level that sort of stifled my personal building right now. So mainly just to focus on the Crazy Bricks, but we'll see. I think when the bug bites me again, I'll be building pretty big and strong again.
Okay. We'll definitely look forward to that. And one last reminder before we let you go, what all conventions will you be at this year with your special studs cards that people can get?
Well, I will be sitting alongside you guys at Brick World in Chicago.
Okay.
I think it's, 2 weeks or so?
Yes, I think so.
Then,
wow.
Yeah, it's happening fast. Then Brick Fair in Virginia, I'll be there. And then a little later in the year, Bricks by the Bay. And then lastly, BrickCon in Seattle.
Okay, so that's where you can find him and get some special studs cards and some cool stuff from Guy that way. And definitely look forward to seeing you at Brick World. That'll be really neat. We'll have to make a video with you, all the different Crazy Brick stuff you have there.
Fantastic. Yeah, Brick World should be fun. And we got a couple neat things, little surprises planned for Brick World too. Relating to MUNCHKIN Bricks, so it should be very cool. I'm very much looking forward to it.
Okay, well, it was great having you on the show, Guy. Great talking to you and hearing some more about your Kickstarter project, and definitely encourage you to check out MUNCHKIN Bricks. I'll make sure to include a link to that Kickstarter project and everything else we talked about in the description, so you can check that out and support MUNCHKIN Bricks. Get yourself some cool items that way.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, a pleasure to talk to you guys, and again, I'll look forward to seeing you guys live.
Always.
And I'd encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube page here at Beyond the Brick as well to make sure you catch all of our Brick World content. Like we said, it's only a couple weeks away. We'll be releasing some really cool videos from there as well. So definitely encourage you to subscribe and check all those videos out. And we'll see you next week.